Maverick 440 Catamaran. Now, me and Mr. Duck have got a lot to say about this amazing South African built cruising boat. Let's go and take a good look, but let me get out of the bath first.
So welcome, and let's start this review of the 440 off with a good look at the cockpit. Let's see what Teresa had to say on the day.
This is the helm position of the Maverick 440, and it is a very well enclosed, well protected helm position. I can see 3 corners of the boat. I can see all 4 corners of the boat actually, with a bit of a neck crane. So visibility is really good. Forward I have these tough glass windows, and they are actually opening hatches as well. So you would be fully protected here, really nicely done. You've also got, you know, some nice features like a bar here to hold on to. I would say that ergonomically, at the moment, I feel quite disconnected from like everything, but we've been told that it's very highly customizable. So you can choose the height of your seat, you can choose the type of helm seat that you have, and presumably, you know, for someone like myself who needs to, you know, kind of be a little bit down, you can adjust it as well. The other thing is that there is a little footrest, but there's not anywhere if I was standing. I'd have to go on my tiptoes to see the front of the boat. So otherwise, very good. The winches are here, again, not within arm's reach. I'd have to step down, but that's not a problem at all. There's another couple of winches on the other side, but otherwise it would seem that most lines run back to the helm position, just like most catamarans these days. I don't think that's anything unusual. So helm position, very happy with. It's connected to the cockpit, good visibility, well protected, nothing to complain about.
So Teresa, pretty happy with the helm position and safety from that point of view. Now let's look at the deck. There is of course a handrail across the cabin top. That's going to make everything fairly safe to move around the deck if the weather is rough. Steps going up to the cabin top also are going to allow packing away of that mainsail without many problems. One thing we would have liked to seen was completely flat side decks. These are on 2 levels with non-flush hatches. They're going to be a bit of a tripping hazard. But congratulations to Maverick, the life raft displayed proudly at the stern. It's where it should be, and dealers don't hide it for boat shows. We want to see where it is. Congratulations, 9 out of 10 for Maverick there. Now straight into category 2, let's have a look at the engine bay. Engine access is easy here. There is good access on all sides, so changing oils and looking at fluid levels is going to be a breeze. These engines are also reverse mounted for extra ease. One thing we would notice here, we could not see self-expanding foam in the conduits, but a fire suppression system is a good thing to see. There are my rose joints. Boy, do I love a good rose joint. Nice sturdy steering system there. I would have no problems about taking this boat across oceans with something as well built as that. Looking to that, a huge autopilot ram with a hydraulic system. And also nice to see that the rudder stock is not huge and unsupported, waving around there in the hull. Moving above deck, everything was well built and carefully thought out. I found the mast rigging and gooseneck to be above average quality for robustness. Similarly, if we look to the stainless steel work and the caliber of that, it was all overbuilt and super strong. This is a very, very well built boat. Maverick were also super keen to impress on us the amount of care and detail they'll put into the things that you can't see. The level of detail that goes into plumbing, the amount of backups that they have, and how everything is labelled and well set out. If you are going to need to do maintenance on this boat, this is going to make things a breeze. Moving on to the joinery, this was all really beautiful, really well done, and you can see that whoever's put this boat together has taken a lot of pride in the finish. Everything was smooth, there were no rough edges. It was an absolute joy to walk around the Maverick 440 and see the attention to detail. This is what we really love to see in a boat. Small boat builders making the best of the jobs that they do. Now let's hear our thoughts on the day. There was one thing I didn't like. Let me explain my thoughts on the day.
So one thing that I've noticed about a couple of the builds that we've seen at the Annapolis Boat Show is that the bulkheads are stippled. There's a textured paint that is applied to them. Now I actually don't like that. I find it to be probably, it reminds me of houses where the plasterwork isn't of sufficient quality to merit actually being displayed in its own glory, and so they put a stippled surface on to deal with possible kind of like imperfections, and I wonder why they've stippled the surfaces here. I don't actually like it, and to me it detracts from the boat.
Elsewhere with build quality, we could see that just about everywhere the boat was put together well with good attention to detail. There were some parts, however, where we thought, your QA should have picked up on that. But overall, a solid, well-built boat. We are happy to give the Maverick 440 a 9 out of 10. Congratulations, Maverick. Now, before we move on to category 3, some shameless self-promotion. We were at the Annapolis Boat Show and saw 7 amazing boats, and we have all those reviews coming to you real soon. Aside from the 12 we've already done, there is a lot for us to show you. So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. There is a little button down there. If you click on that, you will not miss any of our reviews. Anyway, back to category 3.
The cockpit of the Maverick 440 is really a little bit different actually. You've got kind of a dinette arrangement here, and then you have of course the helm seat that you can sit on to socialise, and you also have a little coffee table that at the moment is actually up in the up against the bottom of the bimini, but you can lower it down and it forms a coffee table. There's also forward-facing seats that span kind of the width of the cockpit, as well as a hammock arrangement, which is something I've never seen before. Very interesting. So there's lots of seating options here, including actually 2 dolphin seats just outboard. So a bit of an unusual arrangement, and I see nothing wrong with that. Plenty of options for sitting in the cockpit.
We've already mentioned that the Maverick is highly customizable, although that hammock I have seen in all of the Mavericks I have viewed, so I think that is a relatively permanent feature. That being said, if you had any other requirements in terms of the cockpit, then it's worth speaking to them because they could probably accommodate you. That being said, I think the cockpit is actually a very sensible layout at the moment with plenty of options for dining as well as for lounging. So I actually really like this cockpit. I think that it's very sensibly laid out. Let's go inside now. As we've just said, the Maverick is so highly customizable that it's going to be a little bit difficult to assess some features. The galley in particular, you can have many different options in terms of both design and layout. So let's hear what Nick had to say on the day.
So Maverick 440, it is the best way I can describe it is odd. It's an odd boat. There's a couple of things that I just find I can't get my head around, and maybe it's just me. So firstly, the use of space here is just strange. They've got this huge compression post in the middle of the boat, but it means that you have to have a bulkhead carving the middle of the saloon up. Now maybe you could adapt that space better to take into account maybe a forward-facing nav station, but having a bulkhead there, to me, it breaks the space up in a very strange way. Similarly, that daybed, while I can see the benefits of having a daybed like that, I also think, is it the best use of space? It's literally just that they are working with whatever square footage they've got in here, and I think they're actually struggling to make the space as welcoming as other boats. That's the first thing, and is it a minor thing? I don't know, but that's one take I would have on this. You know, that daybed, it just looks out of place, and this bulkhead looks out of place. In the plus column, the almost infinite combinations that you can make with this boat really do lend itself to customization. What I would say is though that, you know, we've seen, and you look on the internet, there's lots of different variations of this 440. There are some that look, you know, bright and modern like this. There's another one that looks like an old English pub. They've done it in like red leather, which is kind of, or green leather, but it's like, okay, it looks like the House of Commons. But you get a huge amount of internal volume and the infinitely customizable options. I think that can be a good thing, although you have to be aware that if you are kind of like leaning towards red leather or green leather, you have to resell the boat at some point. There's so much that I really love about this. It does seem really well built, it seems to be well thought out, and there's lots of little features that I'm thinking, okay, this is really nice. It's really, someone's obviously gone to the trouble of saying, will this work? Intelligent design is really important, and I think that a lot of these features on this boat, if other manufacturers would kind of like pick up their heels and go, actually that's clever, we're going to borrow that. Well, for instance, the way the lockers work, so what they've done is, you know, just to kind of like double down on this, they've got the life raft in a very intelligent place. The engines are reverse mounted so that you can from there access the plant machinery and service more easily. There are things, the customizable nature of, say, the helm seat. You can choose the height that you have it at. You can have it on a gas strut. You can have it that raises and lowers. All these little things kind of, I think the catamaran manufacturers need to realize that the market is really changing, and that change involves not them saying this is what you get, it's what do you want? Because the price of this is not crazy different to buying a European built production catamaran. So if you're in the market for something that, you know, you've got X number of pounds, dollars or euros to spend, and you've got a company like this that will go, well, actually you want it, yes. You know, and that's the way business works nowadays. You know, it's not, you know, no, we can't do it. So yes, we can do this for you without compromising the integrity or the sailing performance of the boat. So there's a lot that I like about it. It's not an elegant boat, and I don't think that Maverick will ever try and say yes, it's a pretty boat, but there is so much that I really do like about it.
So as usual, some mixed thoughts from Nick there, and let's see what I had to say on the day.
The saloon of the Maverick 440 is a really large U-shaped settee, and it actually converts into a massive day bed. So you can see behind me, this backrest actually it moves, so you can take it off, and you end up with this huge day bed, which could come in really handy, to be honest, especially when it's warm, or you're on watch, or your partner is on watch and you just want to sleep up here. That's really convenient. It could be really convenient as a feature. This table seems to move around a little bit, and I think that it probably goes down as well, so that is handy. Otherwise, the visibility from inside is pretty good. It's not as amazing as some other catamarans that we've seen, because there's this massive, would you call that a bulkhead?
Yeah.
This massive...
It's the mast compression.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the mast sits right there, and that obstructs your view a little bit. However, other than that, you've got pretty good visibility from in here.
Let's go down into the hulls now, and as we've said before, because the Maverick is so highly customizable, you can have lots of different configurations and designs down here. One thing that I'll just pick up on that you'll probably find in every single Maverick is, first of all, the ventilation in the cabins, which I've yet to talk about in this boat. You've got 3 opening hatches there, which is perfectly adequate for ventilation purposes, so I'm really happy with that. Unfortunately, I do have one criticism, which is the amount of moulded fiberglass around the berths making up those shelving areas. I'm really not a fan of that. I don't think it looks particularly aesthetically pleasing, and the quality of the woodwork around the boat is actually very, very good, so I would like to see a little bit more of that around the berths themselves to make up the shelving next to the bed. That's just a personal preference. Now let's take a look at the main shower room in the master cabin. We've already seen Nick in the bath. Let's see him in the bath once again.
Well, here we are in the bathtub of the Maverick 440. How they managed to get a bathtub into a 44-foot yacht, I have no idea. But what I would say is this bathroom is so big that it echoes. It's actually probably bigger than our bathroom in the apartment in London. And you know, I'm a sucker for a bath. So this is pretty nice, actually. It's a really nice, it's a nice space, actually. I could see this. I mean, obviously, you know, you have to deal with how do you make the water, but what they did say is that they've got the water maker controls are in here, and they've got a lot of redundancy built into that as well. So there's a lot of systems on this boat that I really like. It is very, very, very well set out. So for me, the positives about this boat, it is really like the systems when you open the cabinets are well laid out, well thought out, well labeled, and a lot of thought has gone into the design and the way that the design works. Cabinetry, I'm actually very impressed with the level of woodwork. I'm very, very impressed with the quality of the stainless steel work. And I'll get out the bath now and talk.
It's hard to take you seriously when you're sitting.
Time to wash my armpits.
Otherwise, once again, this is a highly customizable boat. So in terms of, you know, exact layout and the wood options, the upholstery, that kind of thing, there seems to be a lot of scope for personalization there. So when you're looking at this boat, kind of think creatively and think about what maybe you might want to do with the layout and with the design and everything. So just bear that in mind. That being said, I think the owner has made some great decisions in terms of kind of styling and layout and the design. So I really like, for example, the sinks here. It's a really nice design feature, quite stylish. Double sink, obviously, for this particular owner. And we'll just go in and I can show you that there is quite a bit of walking space in here. Again, quite echoey. And I'm in the shower now. And the shower is huge. It's like ginormous, which I find mildly hysterical, but brilliant. And a bath, no less. So plenty, again, of storage space on this boat. I really like that. Clearly that's an element that can be customized. You know, if you want more storage, you can do that, or if you prefer to use that space for perhaps like a sofa down in the owner's hull, then that's an option for you as well. So this particular owner's chosen a desk, so you can basically have an owner's hull just the way you like it, and that is really rare actually. Some catamaran designs, they allow you to choose like a few options. The kind of fully kind of almost bespoke catamarans, like the Privilege, that you can almost do whatever you want, they tend to cost a lot of money. So to have a catamaran in the kind of the 44 foot range that you can customize, that's rare, and that's really worth looking at. So I like that a lot.
So let's go into the guest hull now. This owner has chosen just the one guest cabin, which is in the aft part of the hull. And forward, they've actually got a utility / workroom, which I know that Nick would absolutely love. And this is one reason why a partly customizable boat is so handy, so that you can create spaces like this. So scoring this is a really tough one because it is so customizable. We are going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Now, category 4 sees us look at some statistics for the Maverick 44 catamaran. She is 44 foot 6 in length, that is 13.3 meters. Moving on to the beam, we are looking at 24 feet 745. That's a lot for a 44 foot cat. Draft 3 foot 2, and the displacement here 9.9 tons. This is a light boat. With a 68 square meter mainsail and a 43 square meter jib, you are looking at a boat that is going to perform quite well, despite not having dagger boards. Onto the polar diagram, we can see that in 20 knots of true wind, with the wind off the aft quarter, this boat will register 12 knots. That's good for a 44 foot boat. So actually, performance rating, she's not absolutely sparkling, but she's by no means sluggish. So performance for the Maverick 440, we are going to award her a 5 out of 10, right down the middle. Now let's look at value for money for the Maverick 440. Now, bear in mind the currency conversions are accurate as of the 1st of November, and none of these prices take into account local taxes. Base price for the Maverick 440, $730,000 US. That's £570,000, 662,000 euros. Final price here, because this is a very, very heavily spec boat. We only had it up to $780,000. That's 609,707,000 euros. This boat is actually really good value for money. I was impressed with the level of standard fit, and the cruising pack adds just about everything else you are going to need to set sail, turn the key, and go around the world. So overall, I have no problem in awarding the Maverick 440 a 6 out of 10 for value for money. I'm really pleased with it. Congratulations, Maverick.
That was the very impressive Maverick 440 catamaran, another model from the South African builders. Firstly, thank you to everyone at Maverick for taking the time to show us that boat today. It was super busy at the Annapolis Boat Show, so big thanks to them. As always, we will deal with the positives of this boat and then the negatives, if there are any. So Therese, let's start with the positives.
Well, I think that the things that I like about the Maverick in particular was that it is filling a niche that I don't think any other boat builders are trying to compete in.
Ooh, interesting. Come on.
It's true. It's a 44 foot, semi-customizable catamaran.
Yep.
And it is very rare. I can't think of any others that spring to mind that have those options. You know, we've spoken about this before, if you are in the market for a catamaran in the mid 40 foot range, around 3 to 45 foot, then your options are very limited, particularly if you want something other than the production catamarans. You don't really have that many options, and if you want something that is relatively bespoke, then really I think your only option is the Maverick. So they are offering a product that no one else is, and I think that is absolutely fantastic. You can do pretty much whatever you want, and if you are interested, I encourage you to go to the Maverick website and have a browse through their website, because they show you lots of different kind of variations of their boat from previous owners, and some of them are not to my taste, and some of them are really lovely. So you can have not only any layout that you want within reason, but you can have pretty much any style that you want. From, you know, kind of the type of wood, or the colour of the wood, to the colour of the upholstery, to the, you know, the styling, the type of materials that they use, everything. So that I think is fantastic, really fantastic. As Nick said in the video, the only thing you have to be kind of have in the back of your mind if you decide to go down that route is that, you know, you have to think about selling the boat on at some point. So that's one downfall with these highly customizable boats, is that something that is to your taste may not be to everyone else's taste, but minor point. Other than that, as I said, you know, the build quality we were really happy overall with the build quality. There were a couple of little things which we'll talk about later, which were less, you know, not quite as perfect. But overall, I was happy, very happy with it.
Okay. I'll give you everything you said. Positives for me, let's just deal with the cost of this boat. This is and there's a difference between bespoke and customizable. Right?
Can you explain the difference? Because I think I'm a bit...
Okay, so so bespoke really means you can change the upholsteries and the work surface colours and a few other minor points. Right. So your fit out is really, the furniture stays in place, the bulkheads stay in place, and that's really what you're getting. Okay. So you get, like, for instance, most catamarans are bespoke to a certain amount. So you can say, I want this upholstery, this is selection, I want this wood, and I want these appliances. That's bespoke. When you're doing, you know, semi to fully customizable, it's just like, wallop, bulkhead goes there, that goes there. They'll say, obviously, we can't move the bulkhead because, you know, it's structurally different. But so this is semi customizable. They are, and I agree, they are probably the most customizable catamaran we've seen. There's so much you can do with these things. Agree that if you have it looking like the House of Commons, it's not going to be to everyone's taste when you come to resell it. So the first thing, the flexibility of the build, huge positive if you want something that isn't being offered. And really, what I would say is that I actually think that the non-European boutique builders are going to wipe the floor with the European boutique builders over the coming years, because we went to Lagoon and we've been to other manufacturers like, can you just change that work surface for Corian? No, I can't do that. I'm like, but it looks rubbish, but I can't do that. Can I get a double sink put in there? No, can't get a double sink put in there. If you could just buy a double sink and put it in, oh no, you can't have that.
When you call them a production boat, it's literally a production line, and there's just bang, 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 bang. There's no, that's it.
Nothing.
You get what you get.
And really, what you're looking at, this 44, it fully loaded, it is. I think it's 700,000. For essentially, you design the boat yourself. You get a really good quality, semi-custom build to your own specifications that is light and fast and strong. And
that was one reason why we tried, especially in the interior design category, I tried to make the assessments that we normally do. However, it was really difficult because most things that we were pointing out could be changed.
Absolutely.
So you know, you really have to use your imagination.
You do. So for us, for me, the big benefits, the cost of it, and the performance of it is going to be good, because she's built light. As it stands, and the problem is there is a certain fugazi about the lightweight displacement, because lightweight displacement is kind of like unloaded, no fuel, no sails, no everything. And the lightweight displacement is going to change massively from boat to boat.
Yeah, depending
so,
on how you
yeah,
get it out,
you would have to see what it weighed when it came out of the yard, which is
Yeah.
why the category of performance is subject to more interpretation than probably most. So those are the positives. Negatives of the Maverick 440.
Well, first of all, and Maverick, I hope you'll excuse me, but for me personally, the lines of the boat aren't particularly aesthetically pleasing.
No.
That is a far from a red line. However, it's just an observation. We thought the build quality was very, very good, but there were certain areas where actually it did fall down a little bit. So maybe not the build quality so much, but the finish. So you pointed out the stippled.
Yeah, no, we saw that on. I think it was not the
I think it was a nice.
the knives that did, and maybe I don't like it, and really.
I wouldn't be surprised if Maverick could, if that was an issue.
They said they could. They
Yeah.
said they could pat panels up because basically
Yeah.
when it comes out the mold, it's raw fiberglass, and basically it's not going to look very nice.
Yeah.
Now other boats have a manufacturing process where they can just have it made in gel coat.
Yeah.
It can all be gel coated so it's completely smooth. I don't like the stippled the
No.
stippled surfaces. I think it hides problems.
Yeah.
But they said that they could change that.
Yeah.
So that
That's-
to me. But we can only assess what we saw on the day.
Yeah. The other thing is that we did see, and this may be a result of the customizable nature of the boat, but there were some parts that didn't quite fit exactly right. So for example, in the galley, I did notice there was a very sizable and to me noticeable gap between some of the bench tops and
Yep.
the actual kind of the hull itself or the deck itself. So, and that to me, I couldn't take delivery of a boat where there was a big gap between. I'd have to say, I'm sorry, you've got to sort
Take
this
it back.
out.
Well, and this is why when before you get your boat delivered, you get a surveyor.
I know it sounds like a small thing, but
No, it's
it
not.
would be our home.
Well, look, fit out. You can split fit out into different things. You know, one thing that we would say about the Maverick, the carpentry.
Yeah, exactly.
The carpentry is amazing. All the
Exactly.
Maverick carpenters need a raise.
Yeah.
And the people who fit out the boat, they need to, go and be re-educated.
Yeah.
Obviously not in a forced labour camp, but they need some re-education at
Yeah.
some point because there is, and whoever oversees the QA on the fit out
Yeah.
needs to actually raise their standards a little bit.
Yeah.
It could have just been that boat though.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, it's so hard to
Which
judge
is why
these
you get a
things.
surveyor in
Yeah.
to go, actually, I've seen 6 of these and that one's not quite right.
Yeah. Sorry, the other thing, and this is something that has been kind of across the board at all the Mavericks that I've seen, is that there, as you pointed out in the video on the day, the layout is a little bit awkward because there are those bulkheads there. One was in the galley and one was I guess where like the U-shaped settee was
Yeah.
behind. So they've kind of got these two spaces which are a little bit awkward, but I think with some creative thinking you could perhaps
I
work
think
around
that is actually the paradox of letting people be too creative with the design and saying, well, look, you can do whatever you want, but you've got to have these two half bulkheads down here to give the thing strength.
Yeah.
If you've got a proper naval architect in, they wouldn't have that at all.
No.
Not if they valued their CV.
Yeah.
Because literally, on the one that we saw, the washing machine was port against the forward windows, but
Yeah.
then there's a half bulkhead.
Yeah.
And it
It
just
just looks a bit awkward.
it's a bit awkward. It's shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking. You wouldn't want that there. I mean,
No.
literally, what? And I imagine that you all do this, right? Because I know that I do it. I know that you do it, and then I know that everyone that I know, you go as you get into a catamaran, you do things a certain way, and everyone does them the same. And tell us if you do this yourselves. You kind of sweep through the cockpit, and you get into the saloon. And depending on whether you're left or right-handed, on how your inclination is, you sweep left to right. Your eyes go left to right. You drink it all in, and it is literally that is what sells the catamaran to you. The yes or no, and to me that bulkhead, it
jumped out at you.
Yes, but I'm fastidious about certain
Yeah,
things,
you
so
are
that
serious.
bulkhead from my point of view, I just didn't like it, and I know that it has to be structural, and I know that they could probably build a nav station there and move everything around. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing. The other side, again, with that huge daybed, I just don't like it.
No, it was, it's kind of, well, for me, you can kind of tell it's there just because they didn't know what else to do with the space.
But they don't have the headroom, so you can't turn it into a seating area.
Yeah.
It has to literally be something. And I know that they're like, oh, well, you could use it as a massive day bed. You know, you could put, do all sorts with it. To me, it's just like, well, we weren't quite sure what to do with this space, so we put a bed in it. So, and I can see why they've done it.
Yeah.
And but to me, I agree with you 100%. It's an awkward use of space.
Yeah. But these are minor issues, and I think that at the end of the day, if you do want a customizable, semi-customizable 44-foot catamaran, then these are issues that you would probably be quite happy to deal with.
I think, well, let's just go talk about the washing machine thing. That's a minor issue.
You mean the bulkhead?
Yes, where the washing machine. That's a minor issue. The other side actually isn't a minor issue. Not to me, it's not. One of the things that you are doing when you are making the concession, and it is a concession of, I'm not going to buy the 50-foot cat, I'm buying a 44-foot cat, your loss of 6 foot, because that 6 foot is huge. It's not just, you're using, because it's cubic volume, you're losing a huge amount of space. If you are going down 6 foot in length, the interior space has got to be used so well.
Yeah.
And if you are doing stuff with that extra 6 foot and you're like, I'm not quite sure what to do with that, I'll stick that there. I think that actually is a big problem. That to me is a big problem, because you are literally clawing back space and you're finding that huge area, which to us has almost zero use.
Oh yeah, we'd never use that.
Because you have a sofa there that you can do the drop down thing.
Yeah.
So you don't need that. So you have to have a naval architect that says, well, we're going to put that there and we're going to do this with that.
Yeah.
And I understand you can move it all about, but yeah. Would I be confident to go and do a circumnavigation in a Maverick 440? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a very, very strong craft. I think it's very well built. I think that the onus on yes we can from the yard is what people want nowadays.
Yes.
And apart from these issues, I mean, look, put it this way, if the bulkheads don't bother you, and that day bed is something like, actually, that's an amazing thing to have, and you are price sensitive and you want a 44-foot catamaran that is 300,000 less than the other 44-foot boutique built catamaran, then you're good to go.
Absolutely, and as we've said, you could do anything you want with that fit out and literally have it to your taste, and I think that is really valuable these days when people, we have been through this ourselves. We have looked at pretty much every catamaran on the market. I mean, we haven't filmed every single one that we've been on, but we've looked at all of them practically, and there is nothing in existence today that ticks every single box. And I don't think that the Maverick 440 would tick every single box for everyone. However, the appeal of being able to change things around to your liking is huge, and that's really important. And I applaud Maverick for building a product where they are giving their customers so much choice.
Anyway, the Maverick 440 Catamaran, that was a fantastic experience for us. So thank you again to Maverick. We still have a good few of these reviews from the Annapolis Boat Show, so as well as now the 15 or 16 we also have previously from other boat shows. As you probably know if you've been watching these videos, we've got quite a huge voting system that's going on, and we now have about 2,000 votes. And when we come to the end of the series, we are going to compile, based on your scores, the top 10 of the best catamarans on the market, compiled by you and chosen by you. So please, there's a link down there, please vote. Leave your vote down there for all the catamarans you've seen so far, including the Maverick 440. We will be back next week with another review video, so thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.
Cross my heart and hope to die.